Hello, my name is Ben, and in this final project, I was responsible for installing Ubuntu onto an external drive.
My name is Landen Lipskoch. I will be going over customization for our UnixFinal.
I'm Michael, and I'm going to be going over the bash scripts.
And I'm Logan White. I did the icon.sh as well as I created the presentation. The goals for this project were pretty straightforward. We wanted to create a bootable USB running the Ubuntu distribution. We wanted to customize it, both its desktop environment and its display manager using XFCE4 and LightDM, and we wanted to create scripts icon.sh, cron jobs, and a few others in order to make managing the system much easier than having to type into the command line.
The first thing I did was find an external drive which would have plenty of space to install Ubuntu onto. From there, I went ahead and went to the Ubuntu website and downloaded the latest image file they had for Ubuntu Desktop. And while that was downloading, I also went ahead and downloaded Rufus, which I would then use to create a separate bootable USB for Ubuntu. Once everything had finished downloading, I selected a slightly smaller USB stick to be used as the initial USB bootable. Then I selected the image that I would be creating this bootable off of. And finally, the target system, which I would be installing Ubuntu onto. And from there, all I had to do was start that process and wait. Once Rufus had finished creating the bootable USB, I then restarted my system and press the delete key to boot into the BIOS. From there, I changed the boot order to make my new bootable USB stick the top priority in the boot list. After exiting the BIOS, I was then greeted by the Ubuntu install screen. And from there, I was able to select the drive which I would be installing Ubuntu onto, which in this case was that drive I prepared earlier. And then after waiting for that to install, all that was left to do was restart the system one more time and then log into Ubuntu. And as you can see, the system works exactly as expected.
For customizations for our Ubuntu OS, we will be doing a desktop environment with a display manager, a desktop environment XFCE4 with display manager LightDM. Display manager would be our login interface, while desktop environment would be our standard desktop environment, so the home screen after login. Um, we've chosen both as they're lightweight, simple and efficient, runs great on all hardware of all types. They offer great visual appeal, and they have a very easy use interface. Um, to install and set up an environment with both, we've gone ahead and set up a prerequisite, just basically verifying our packages are up to date. We can do this by sudo apt update and sudo apt upgrade. Once you see both all packages are up to date and zero upgraded, that means your packages are updated. Once we verify that, we can go ahead and install. This will be done by a sudo apt install xfce4. Um, Optionally, you can provide a xfce4-goodies command. This is basically optional um, command if you want additional utilities, software, maybe some artwork, anything you want to add to your install, you can add that there. If you're interested in looking that up, you might see the full list of packages and installs, but we'll not be showing that today. Um, but yeah, so we'll be adding that to our command as we want the full experience, and we're not limited on compute power or space, so it should be fine. But basically, once you run that, you should get prompted with configuring LightDM, basically a pop-up saying that we can only have one graphical login interface, not multiple. This will be LightDM, as you can see here. Once we press OK, it should pop up, basically selecting LightDM as our login interface. We'll go ahead and select that as we do not want to run GNOME or GDM3. So we'll be selecting that, pressing OK. After our install, we can go ahead and select our desktop environment as well as see our display manager. To do this, you can go ahead and log out of your user account or do a reboot of your desktop. This can be done through command line sudo reboot. Once that is done, you'll be prompted with our LightDM login interface. Looks something like this. Pretty simple. Nothing much to see other than your user login. To select your desktop environment next, we'll go ahead and select our little circle icon right next to the username. Once we've done that, we'll get a pop-up with select desktop environment, and we'll go ahead and select XFCE session as our desktop environment. Once you do that, enter your password, log in, and then you'll be prompted with an interface like this. Pretty simple, easy use interface. You got your everyday icons down here you can add, basic file system like your Windows desktop, trash can, file system, home folder if you need any of that. We got some system icons up here for Ethernet, sound, power, notifications, today's date and time, and the user account. Pretty simple interface, and that is what it looks like once setup is complete.
I will be showing off the script I wrote, icon.sh. What the script does is fairly simple. It just generates .desktop files from a bash file. Yeah. So if I quickly launch this, it'll bring up Zenity, select the script, icon.sh. Now I go to my downloads, and right here I have the Adobe Express file.png. Also supports SVG files, so I can open up that. Give it a name. I'll call it Icon Maker. And so now you see it on my desktop. And I can launch it. And I can do it again. And there's a second one. Yeah, fairly simple script.
Starting off with cron jobs, you can see it asks us to select a date, time, AM or PM. Let's do create backup. Do we need an X authority variable? No. Let's do once a week. Creating. Okay, so it looks like the cron job was added. We can see it right there. One of the more specific bash scripts that gets run. Going to take a look at create backup. It's going to ask us to choose a source directory, say file processing, and a destination directory. Let's put this desktop bash 5. Tells us it was successfully created. We can take a look. See, it's right here. Packages. It's going to ask us to give a list of packages we want to update. Get Insanity. I'm going to loop through and update all of them. Okay, there were no errors and should be good to go. But if you try to give it the name of a package that's not real, it will promptly list them all out, tell you at the very end, fail to update the following packages. Network works. Normally this would have the authority. Oh. Gonna see it starts running right away. take a while. Then, just a little bit of confirmation. I already did this, so it's going to complain if I try to run it again. Did not install. And there.